We're going to take you on a detailed tour on exterior, interior and the driving experience, of course, partly electrified. Is that a real advantage for this very vehicle? You always have this very smooth front, definitely. It is strong somehow, but you see it is also, it looks a little bit wind efficient, so to say, even though it's not a so wind efficient car. This LED daytime running light looks very modern still, and the main headlamp unit standard with LED, optional matrix LED, and the second option is a so-called pixel LED. That's just more LEDs you have than 144 single ones, especially for the variation of the high beam unit. 4,85 meters, 15'9" or 191 inches is the total length here of the Range Rover Sport. And where is it positioned between the Range Rover Velar and the Range Rover? Well, it is 5 centimeters longer than the Range Rover Velar and about 10,000 euros more expensive, and 15 centimeters shorter than the Range Rover and 37,000 euros cheaper. The base price here in Germany, take an example, 66,000 euros then. But here's the plug-in hybrid vehicle. It's 88,000. Rims, they start from 19-inch. Those ones here are the 21-inch, the maximum you can get. They don't look too large because those ones here are the winter tires. The beautiful dark blue color here as well. Again, you got some accentuations on the top of the hood here with those, well, fake supercharged vents on the top, as well as on the side, but they have no function, visual only. In the rear, the Range Rover Sport is characterized again by those very strong signatures in the daytime running lights here, also for the tail lamps. And I think when the full-size SUV looks rather rectangular or angular, it makes it always appear a little bit stronger. That's still the case here, whereas other SUVs are more going in a round shape direction. So definitely those Range Rovers, they have somehow more character, especially in the design. About engines for the Range Rover Sport, on the diesel side there's a 4.4 liter V8 diesel, there's a 3 liter V6 diesel. Then on the petrol side there is the 5 liter V8 petrol. The V6 petrol is no more. Now this Land Rover Ingenium engines, the newer ones, this one here is a 2 liter 4-cylinder petrol engine. And in the plug-in hybrid, there's also a non-plug-in hybrid version for this one, for this engine. Here with the plug-in hybrid, it has total system power output of 400 horsepower approximately, and 6.7 seconds is the acceleration figure from 0 to 100 kilometers or 0 to 60 miles an hour. That's about this plug-in hybrid. Of course, we'll take a look, as you can see here, the orange parts. That's also where something is belonging to the electric part of this car. And as for the electric features, well, this one here has a 13 kilowatt hour battery and supposed official range of 50 kilometers fully electric. But it's rather realistic that it's something between 30 and 40 kilometers pure electric range. And you can charge it with a 7 kilowatt AC charger. This is the car key, and I'm not sure. It's not so premium-like for the price you pay, I think. Also the door closing sound doesn't sound too good. Keyless entry, that one is now working quite properly. Put your hand on it to close it, put your hand in it to open it, and then also here, for example, the outside mirror flips out. Then upright doors. You have slim door pockets, but what I like is, that as for the materials on the inside, those are all soft and plush. This is really cool then, however. Then you have the optional Meridian sound system. This is the top one you can actually go for. Then the typical Range Rover interior, the Range Rover Sport, is of course a little bit sporty as for the interior. Here in all black, you can also go for bright style. So let's get inside. It's of course an easy entry as you expect from a full-size SUV. And you have this upright so-called command seating position as they call it Land Rover. And I can just confirm that again. It really gives you a good overview. I'm 1.86 m or 6'1", and then it still leaves some headroom. This one here without the panoramic roof today, you can also go for that one. Again, the comfort is really good as for the whole seating position. Interior overview, you can see you have this typical angle in the Range Rover Sport. However, the screen leans a little bit towards you then. 12.3 digital instruments left, and then 10-inch and 10-inch two screens in the middle. This one is rather for the infotainment system, Sumo deals to that. The lower part then, you can adjust the temperature with those turning wheels, but you can see it's a little bit blocking here with the gear shifter. And they can, for example, also activate the seat heating and the off-road commands and stuff. Most important thing first, finally Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are also available for the Jaguar Land Rover models. Great, they have that now because the so far in-control apps, they are really not that good. And what I want to test out is if I can let the music run and at the same time then go back to the GPS, and the GPS is still working. Yeah. That is working indeed. So you can see here it could be a little bit more responsive, but overall it gives you a good overview, and you can still connect your phone via Bluetooth. That's also possible. Other than that, you have this main menu here, and for the plug-in hybrid you have a special EV view, for example, where you then can see if at the moment you are in the recuperation or something, or have this view, then this is then something additional. And those are the digital instruments. You can have different setups here. So if you want the central one with the map then on the right, or you can have the map on the full display, for example. So you have different setups where you are actually quite flexible. This is the advantage then of a digital cockpit in comparison to analog ones. So let's now get in the rear. The rear door doesn't open too wide. What is good that the materials on the inside are also soft here. That's good as for the build quality. The rest, well, some other parts of the build quality in the rear are not that much up to date, like the backpack of the seat here. And well, disappointing also that there is not so much room left for your legs. That is one thing. Headroom is also pretty close. It does still fit, of course, for 4 adults, but even if you put your feet under the seat, you would need it to lift a little bit. So considering the length of the car, the package is not really that good. And now to the trunk. There is an electric tailgate available. We have the manual one today. On the one hand, I'm quite happy about it as it's not the top highest trim, but you can see it's really cold outside, and it seems to be that the hydraulic struts don't work properly here then with those temperatures. So maybe if you are in the cold quite often, then the electric tailgate would be better. Then there is this cover here, also with rails on left and right, but yeah, the mechanism that's drawing back is also a little bit strange. So, and you see this is the biggest disadvantage of the plug-in hybrid. You lose in height massively, definitely. And in liter capacity, you lose about 100 liters. The normal figures would be 780 to 1686, or 27.5 cubic feet to 59.5 cubic feet. But as I said, 100 liters less here in the capacity. And well, in the height, then you only remain with about 40 centimeters, and that's literally nothing. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge, and here with the plug-in hybrid of the Range Rover Sport is of course quite cool because you can start all silent. So now as for the acceleration, it has some quite good acceleration, but what, for example, when I accelerate from 40 kilometers to 80. And before that, I'll go to the sport mode, that we have a little bit more acceleration. Let's go. Look, that was 85 already. So now we are getting also on a motorway passage, because we've seen now in primarily city traffic, we had a lot of EV situations. We were, hardly using the combustion engine at all. I guess it will be different now on the motorway, but that's exactly what we're about to see right now. As for the overview, by the way, those vehicles here by the big Land Rover or the Range Rover, they have those upright building style as for the windows, so you can still have a good overview to all of the sides. Even here, well, the B pillar is quite big, but it still works somehow. So the first boost always via the EV mode. That's always also a good and fast feeling. Now we're getting on the motorway, and now the combustion engine is already active at a higher speed. So what's happening now when I'm going from 80 kilometers to 120 and the ICE is already active? Is it smoother, or is there like no transition? Let's go. Let's first sport mode first again, and then let's go. That was it. By the way, what I also want to test is when I go into this EV mode at higher speed now. Let's go to the EV mode here now. Obviously the car is overriding it, so at higher speeds. Now again. EV mode active, okay. And now to our conclusion for today with the Range Rover Sport plug-in hybrid. Well, first of all, the Range Rover Sport in this current generation, some parts are now beginning to be a little bit outdated. For example, as for the infotainment system, they are now offering software updates, however, but still the infotainment system, I think, is not very responsive. But on the exterior, it's still very stylish and strong with this typical Range Rover design. And also it has this upright seating position you expect from a full-size SUV, and you still have a very comfortable and upright riding. With the plug-in hybrid, what I like best is that you do have this part electric ride, that you can start fully silently, that you have some, for example, in your neighborhood, you can drive to totally silent. That's really cool. And of course, well, when would you go for it? When you can really recharge it. For example, if you have just, a normal plug in your garage at home or something, then I would go for this vehicle if you, for example, can make your commuting all electric. In all other cases, I think it does not make so much sense. Well, maybe if there are governmental benefits, as we recently have now in Germany, starting from 2019, that when you have it as a corporate vehicle, you don't have to, have lower taxes then, is 0.5% instead of 1% of the total list price per month if you tax the private use. That would be a reason for it, like the governmental benefits or lower taxes. Other than that, you of course have the biggest disadvantage that you have lower height in the trunk, overall even more weight for the whole vehicle, and the base price is also higher. So you really have to think about if that is something for you. What do you think? Looking forward now to your opinion here on the PHEV of the Range Rover Sport. And I hope to see you also next time at Autogefuhl. Thank you so much for tuning in.